The Blue Mage in Final Fantasy has always been one of my favorite classes due to its fundamental mechanics being you learn magic from monsters. I always felt like it added a layer of mechanics and planning ahead to properly get the spells that I want or need. And apparently I wasn't the only person that found this mechanic neat, as we see the Blue Mage return over and over again, with the developers toying with the idea of how a Blue Mage can learn magic. At its core, the Blue Mage learns no skills on their own except for the passive learning, or the one time it was called eating in Final Fantasy IX due to character reasons. It's as creepy as it sounds. The learning mechanic has always changed over time. It can be that they have to tank a hit from an enemy, or they have to put an enemy in a weakened state so Kiana can eat them, or you simply watch a monster use magic and the Blue Mage can learn it through observation. And by the end of the game, a robust list of spells is there for you to use and toy around with, all generally being the signature move of each of the enemies that you've encountered so far. But for how many iterations of Blue Mages there were, I find that Final Fantasy Tactics A2 version of Blue Mage to be the best and most fun version of Blue Mage to date because of the insane variance in skills that you can collect. The Blue Mage is a class for the human race only and can be unlocked rather quickly. They can equip sabers, but you only really need to equip one as mandatory: the lightsaber. Get it? In order to unlock the FFTA2 version of Learn, you have to spend some time with a lightsaber weapon equipped, and with enough battles you'll have it fully mastered in no time. Once you have the Learn skill equipped, you'll be spending time doing a sort of mini game with the enemy monsters, as the Blue Mage in this game learns from having the spell be used on them specifically. For instance, you'll face one of Final Fantasy's classic enemies, the mighty Malboros, who are notorious for their bad breath ability. If a Malboro uses it on your Blue Mage, it has the chance of inflicting blind, silence, poison, or any combination of these three debuffs. While that particular battle to learn the skill may be devastating, getting the ability is super nice to have, as the skill only costs 8 mana, thus being super cheap and mana efficient if your game plan is to debuff the enemies as fast as you can. However, while skills like Bad Breath may be easy to obtain, abilities like War Dance, a useful ability to have in the early game as it buffs your allies' attacks, has you tapping into another class to obtain said skill: the Beastmasters. The Beastmasters are a new Mao race only class, and they have the ability to control monsters that are present on the battlefield. The benefits of having one is that they can control creatures like the Dream Hare, little rabbit-like creatures that have War Dance and can use it on the Blue Mage so they can learn said skill. You'll be tapping into this class because abilities like War Dance are a support skill, and the AI is programmed to never use it on your team. And while yes, this skill is annoying to obtain, it's one of the few attack buff skills in the game that is also AoE, so it's worthwhile to pick up if you can get it. But perhaps the most annoying skill to obtain is something like the Ahriman's Roulette skill, which instantly KOs someone, but the catch being, like its name implies, it's RNG. The skill requires you to have an auto revive skill on you, as the Blue Mage can't learn if they die. So a skill like Roulette will require you to win the lucky RNG between presumably 12 people that are on the map, while having an auto revive passive ready on you. The chances of getting this ability is already low, and it's not even that great of a skill anyways, so I can see most players skipping out on this. But the completionist in me was not happy when trying to obtain this skill. At the very least though, if you have a Blue Mage that has already learned the skill, then they can go ahead and use said move on another Blue Mage in the party, and they can learn the skill that way as well. This means you only really need to invest into one Blue Mage to learn all the Blue Mage skills, and they can pass around the skills to other Blue Mages. Another pro that the Blue Mage can provide to your team is that the Blue Mage doesn't actually have to stay as a Blue Mage because of the way that FFTA2 works. Once you learn a passive skill, you can equip the passive skill and never really have to change it around. And now you have the luxury of dipping into other classes for either their skills or growths. But even if you did decide to stay in the Blue Mage class, besides the minimal amount of skills that the Blue Mage can learn through weapons, the growth provides for a nice, steady balance of stats besides Evade, which already got heavily nerfed in the transition between Tactics Advanced to Tactics Advanced 2, and plus Evade is worthless on blue mages anyway since you want to get hit to learn the abilities. And thanks to the flexibility that the blue mages can provide for your team, they can be optimized and mixed in with a lot of different classes. The one that most people will probably do is the ninja/blue mage mix, as once you get a lot of the blue mage skills, you can swap learn to double sword, a ninja ability to raise the amount of DPS that a singular unit can do. Otherwise, in the later parts of the game, once you unlock the seer class, you can do some crazy shenanigans with a high magic ability. The Seer class also gets you access to the 3 elemental abilities, Fire, Thunder, and Ice, that could prove to be useful. I've even done some of the weirder builds like Blue Mage Paladin, which ended up having my Blue Mage be super slow, but the tanking utility that the Paladin class provided, plus the added utility that the Blue Mage gave, made this pairing niche, but fun when it worked. And since the Blue Mage abilities will be useful at almost every point in the game, finding good teammates is nice to have. Red Mage's Avira only class is a great pair to the Blue Mage as they have the double cast ability. With Ward and Protect covering both defense and resistance, all the Blue Mage has to do is provide War Dance to get a wide coverage of buffs. Otherwise, a class like the Time Mage from either the Moogle or Numao race can be beneficial, as the Haste ability can help the Blue Mage spread Angel Whisper, a skill that grants auto life to as many party members as fast as possible, so you can play a little bit more risky without the consequences of death. But all in all, besides their fun kit, Blue Mage is fun for me because it warps how you would normally play the game. I personally would never invest into Beastmasters unless I have a Blue Mage on my party, and the skills that I do have on my Blue Mage are now being planned out and thought ahead of time to synergize with as many members of the army as I can. And not only am I planning ahead with my party members, but I'm taking extra precaution in order to ensure the survival of my Blue Mage so they can continue to expand their spell list. And that, to me, was fun and the biggest reason as to why the Blue Mage class is memorable and stays memorable. Either way, for my folks that have played Final Fantasy Tactics A2 or the Final Fantasy series in general, I'm curious as to what your favorite class is. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.